Welcome, everyone. We are so glad that you're joining us. I'm so excited to introduce our very, very, very special guest today, Kim Chestney. Kim Chestney is super, super amazing. So she's the author of Radical Intuition, a revolutionary guide to using your inner power, and the founder of Intuition Lab. Her groundbreaking intuition work has empowered thousands of people around the world to live extraordinary lives through the expansion of intuitive consciousness. Kim, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Alkemia. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so honored and excited. I'm just really excited for today's session. So let's just dive right in. So your work, and I really want to talk about pain, how pain can really wake you up. This is so interesting because this is something that I myself have this perspective as well, as how pain can be such an amazing teacher. I say pain is like one of the greatest teachers sent by love because it really causes us to pay attention. So for you, when you say that pain can really wake you up, why is this such an important topic in today's world?
Well, and I completely agree with you. One of the things that I think a lot of us can agree on right now is that pain is a topic of conversation, whether we're talking about the pandemic or a lot of the even emotional pain and psychological pain that we are going through right now. There's just so much happening in this world that it's something that's top of mind, I think, for so many of us. And I really wanted to talk about it because for me, it's one of those things, especially in the spirituality world, that gets overlooked a little bit. There's a myth that spiritual people should always be healthy and happy, and if we're living aligned, that everything's going to be perfect. But the reality is we have this really powerful teacher called pain that is a gift, even though it's not the best, it's not what we want to feel all the time. It is so powerful. And, there's two ways that we can awaken in this world. We can awaken through joy and lifting our vibration and connecting to all that love and goodness in the world. But then we can also awaken by lowering that energy into that place of stillness and quiet and calm. And that's what pain and suffering so often calls us to do, is get back to that place of stillness. That's so important, and where that magic of love and all of that stuff can be found, even though we don't always realize it's there.
That is so powerful. And, I 100% concur. I can definitely say some of the most transformative moments of my life came, from the pain, I can say very transformative. And so you work in your practice and your work, you work with something called the 0 point healing field. So what exactly is the 0 point healing field, and why is it so important to our health and our vitality?
Yeah, so this is for me, when I really learned about it and started to dive in, it was so revolutionary in the way I understood reality. So, I work with intuition. I teach intuition. That's my passion. My whole life, I've wanted to really understand how it worked and how to use it. And when I started to learn about this concept of the 0 point field, which really is this non-local field that's been proven now in physics, like physics is something that reinforces our intuition now in this way, that we're all connected. This 0 point field is sort of this field of everythingness, of oneness that connects all being, but it's also that field of that lowest, stillest energy, in that place we go to when we reach that moment of presence or stillness, when we touch that aliveness of being. That's that 0 point field in physics that we're touching. So it's so interesting to see that this is a real phenomenon in science, as well as in spirituality. So these worlds are really coming together in this idea of the 0 point non-local field. We touch it with our intuition. It carries wisdom. It entangles us. It connects us. It's the source of all of that insight that arrives into our being. But it also carries with us the light and the energy that heals us. So it can be so powerful to return to that 0 point field. And I think that's one of the reasons when we get sick. Like, I had COVID recently, and I was, I had it pretty bad, and I had to sit in bed for like 2 weeks, but it ended up being a really magical 2 weeks when I wasn't coughing and and struggling to be alive. I went to that place of stillness and I touched it, and it reminded me that there is power there and there is love there. And I think that that's what so much of this pain that we're experiencing is calling us to in those hard times, is to get back into that place where we connect with our wholeness. We're able to ground, we're able to revitalize. And in that grounding and peace, there's a kind of love that reminds us how important it is and how vital it is to appreciate being alive.
Wow. I love that. That is so on point. And Kim, Your story is so important, and just I think the work that you're bringing forward in this world. So really, what inspired you? Can you give us a little bit of background on how you came to be, how you working with Zero Point Energy Field and developing Intuition Lab and your book? I would love to know your story, a little bit about that.
Thanks. Yeah. It's always exciting to know how people get to this place when, I mean, for me, my background is even in technology and the arts. So getting into this place of teaching intuition was always sort of an unexpected dream for me. Like I was always fascinated by it, but I didn't realize that, that my life would take me there full time. I'm the founder of Intuition Lab. I've been studying and researching intuition since 2017 full time. So really understanding that intuition is this key to everything we do in life, whether it is our spirituality or our job or our business or our healing or working with our energy, our intuition is really key to that. And I think more and more people, obviously from, the work that we do here at the Shift Network, understand that. And, I think it's going to become more and more prevalent. And I'm really excited to see where intuition takes us, because intuition to me is a kind of quantum thinking. We were all, thinking with our linear rational mind for all these years. And then we realized quantum physics was a thing, and you can go through that wormhole in a second. Well, that's how intuition works. You can get to point from A to Z without going through all the things in between. Intuition, it thinks like the quantum world. It's unexpected like the quantum world. So I think the more that we understand and research and practice and open up to our intuition as this real valid type of quantum thinking, the more the potential for the expansion of consciousness in humankind is just going to unfold.
Well said. Well said. Amazing. So we know that everything happens for a reason. I'm a big believer in that. I don't believe that there are coincidences. I think that everything is divine timing.
Yes.
So when you say that everything happens for a reason, I'm 100% with you on that. So with that being said, how do we understand the purpose of chronic pain, injury, and other really, really hard types of physical suffering that we endure?
Yeah, and that is really such an important question. And I deal with that a lot because it really is at the core of what our suffering is all about. Why is this happening to me? It's one of those things that we can get stuck into the situation when, especially when we're dealing with chronic issues of not understanding that it's almost like a punishment. Like, why do I have to endure these things? But when we sort of shift our mindset on that and understand that all pain is an invitation. And if we really think about that, all pain is an invitation. What is it an invitation to? And that's something you can put on your intuition. So if you look within and you look at what's happening in your life, you can look at your pain in a bigger context. And, I like to always say, with my students, is the first thing we need to understand when we're working with our intuition is it's very simple, is that there's a part of you that knows everything. So just think about that. There's a part of you that knows every single thing. It knows everything that's happening, everything everywhere in the world. It knows everything that's happening in your body. It knows everything past, present, and future. Plugged into that non-local 0 point field, our intuition has access to that. Our conscious mind only has access to what we're using, right? It's we're here and we're focused. And when we get our mind out of the way, we can tap into some of that other stuff. So when we start listening to those nudges and we start listening to those little synchronicities and those things that our body actually speaks to us, life actually speaks to us. So it can help us to start understanding what that purpose is. So the key is asking your intuition, whatever it is that ails you, whatever suffering you're going through, ask your intuition, why is this happening to me now? Instead of feeling frustrated and thinking at it as something that's a negative, look at it as this is an invitation to something. What can I learn? What can this teach me? And hearkening back to that idea that a part of you knows everything, what does it ask you to do? Is it to wake you up to something, to maybe to release something? Are you holding on to something? Is it going to change your perspective or raise your awareness or just slow you down like it did with me, COVID? Just slow down and be still and catch your breath and enjoy that aliveness and presence of being that is so powerful in fueling our lives. Sometimes it even causes us to change a direction in life and try something new. And we don't always see it until, hindsight. Right. So we might not know it at the time, but we'll look back on your life and see, those times, like you said, those times you learned through your pain, you probably didn't realize it. Probably really was like awful when you're going through it. But then you start to realize, wow, there's something in this for me if I stick with it and I lean into it a little bit instead of resisting it. It's that idea of resistance and really accepting that there is a meaning, even if you can't see it. That's where trust comes in too. We're talking about trusting our intuition, trusting ourselves, trusting in life. Trust that this is happening for a reason. You might not know what it is. A part of you does. Your conscious mind might not know, but trusting that it's happening for a reason and accepting that with grace is really, really powerful. Because if we don't accept it, then we end up with that sort of whisper, shout, roar thing, right? Where life tells you to like, oh, slow down, take a break. But you're like, nope, I'm just going to keep on trucking along. And then something happens and you like get hurt or you get sick and you still don't do it. And you keep on trucking along. And then something like really bad, crazy happens. And that's how life will continue to function until you get the message. So it's really important that we tune into our intuition and listen to ourselves, listen to those subtle cues so we can get those signs early before it turns into like worse pain, right? So we can just have a little bit of pain to wake us up so that we don't have to go to those places and get into that sort of place where we're being forced to do it. We can naturally lean into that and learn about it. And you can learn a little bit more about that if you got my Intuitive Healers Kit. It talks about ways to use your intuition. It's part of this program. And you can do that by turning into things like the chakras. The chakras are so meaningful when we're talking about intuition, the different areas of your life. If you have chronic problems in your neck or throat, are you living your truth? Are you speaking your truth? Are you living that life, in your heart? Are you opening your heart? Are you open to love? Are you holding things back? So there's all of these things where we hold these energies in, and they manifest in a physical way to share things with us and communicate with us. So all of that stuff, even including what's happening in your life, is important in understanding what the pain is about. What are you going through right now? It's information that helps you understand. It's not random that things happen to you when they happen to you. It's all meaningful. Everything is meaningful. And when we understand that we live in a meaningful world and everything that we go through and do is meaningful, it helps us to realize that no matter how we're feeling, we're going through something that's important in growth and part of the evolution of ourselves and really the people in the world around us.
Wow. So powerful. You said some really, really key things that stood out to me. Meaningful, number one, like you said, the things that are happening to us, as you put it, there's meaning in that. And it's really all about us leaning into that so that we can receive the message. So that was so powerful. That really hit home for me. And so with that being said, because I feel like when you mentioned the healing process and the grace and the surrendering, right? I think for some of us, we're so used to controlling. And so that act of surrendering so that we can receive what's needed, the lesson or the light that's in there, can be difficult for some of us. So how then do we take control of our healing process in that process of surrender? And, I want to also talk about the 3 steps you say we can start right now.
Yeah, that's the key point, right? Is really doing something about this and taking control, because that issue of feeling helpless and in a world where we don't control anything it can cause a lot of anxiety, especially when you're dealing with chronic pain and suffering. So there are some things that we can do to just really get into that space of connectedness and oneness and surrender. Like you said, it's so valuable to live life from that place, no matter whether we're going through good times or we're going through challenges. That really is part of the secret in our happiness, right? So the first thing that I tell people, and this is really the most important thing, is getting over this idea of pain shame. And this is something that really, as I've dealt with chronic issues of pain in my life, so that, it's touched me personally too, is this idea that we should be healthy. And if we're not healthy, if you're not healthy, if there's like a pain or there's something wrong with you, then you're doing something wrong in your life. So we can't look at it like that. We have to look at pain as information, not punishment, right? We're having pain because something's trying to speak to us. Some people, pain speaks to them more than others, and that's okay. So no matter what your issues are, try not to get into that place of frustration or being down on yourself or feeling that place of lack, because you're not always living in this optimal place of health. I know when we're working through this idea of manifestation, and that really comes from this concept of the 0-point field. So understanding this 0-point field as this sort of cosmic womb where all things are born. This is also the place that we manifest our life from. So all those little ideas and intentions are little seeds that help us to create our lives, right? So staying in touch with that idea as the core of our being helps us to understand that, we don't always create the perfect life for ourselves. We create lives. Even the pain that you're experiencing, a part of you has created that for yourself because it wants to show you something. So everything is as it should be. It's not a punishment. It's not a signifier that you've done something wrong. It's just information, and it's there for you to teach you and for you to learn from. And it's that part that your higher self chose this. So let's just do it. Let's move through it. Let's embrace it. Let's learn from it. So once we get into that mindset, that this is here for a reason, it's a spiritual lesson, it's a spiritual teaching, it's a source of empowerment, then we move into acceptance. And that is so important, is accepting that this is here for us to teach us. It is power for us. And that's why I entitled this talk, Turning Pain into Power, because that's ultimately what we do. It's alchemy. We want to transmute that pain into power. And we can do that when we own it, when we look to that information as something to give us empathy, to give us strength, to give us a new way of looking at life. So it really is a tool for evolution and the expansion of our consciousness. Even if it comes in little bits and bites of things that don't feel like that, that's where it's going. So accepting that and understanding that this is part of the process of growth, and that you're in it and it can be a source of power for you is really important. And then once you get to that place, then the real fun comes in, and that's where you can really kind of lean into it and find that purpose in the pain. Understand why you're going through it, the why. And that's where intuition comes in. So you come back to yourself. There's so many different ways to get into that place of understanding of why this is happening to you and the lessons that come with it. Sometimes the lessons are just simply to slow down. Sometimes they're to a relationship that's not working or a new career. All these things can show up in terms of pain and suffering and friction, right? Because it's that friction, that discomfort that makes us do stuff, right? If we're just happy and everything's great, we're just going to drink our iced tea and watch the sunset every day. But it's that friction that pain brings that motivates us to do something new, to try something new, to get out there and evolve and change and grow. So understanding pain in that regard, then you can start to do some even intuitive practices to really start to get to the root of it. And in the Intuitive Healers Kit, I have a chakra chart that you can line up your pain with different chakra areas and understand, what the meaning in that is. Or you can even start to journal. On my in my website, kimchestney.com, I have a free insight card deck that's interactive. You can just pick a card and you can use your intuition to work through some of the issues and ask questions and work with your higher self to start getting into the purpose of the pain. Why am I feeling this? Why is this happening to me right now? What is the bigger picture that I'm supposed to see here? And it will magically start to come to you. It will open up and you'll understand that there is a bigger picture at work above this little section of pain that you're feeling. And it's something powerful and something that's really life transformational. So I really encourage people to just take that inner journey and go in there and try to understand what it means. And then once you understand what it means, then you can start to work with it. You can release it. You can open up to it. You can do whatever it is you need to do. You can get out there and live your truth. You can write that book. You can start that new business. You can spend more time with your family. You can spend more time alone, whatever it is. We're all in different journeys and the pain calls us all to different things. But your pain will lead you on the next step that you need to go if you look into it and really take that deep intuitive dive.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And so really to sum it all up, understanding these 3 steps and how you can simply take these steps right now to get started. The first thing is overcoming that pain, shame, trusting yourself, understanding it's happening for a reason. And then the second step is moving into that state of acceptance and leaning into it and really knowing that this is something that's happening for your life's purpose. And then ultimately finding that purpose in the pain, looking into your intuition, taking those steps, doing some journaling, doing some intuitive exercises to find out what it means and what that purpose is. So you can go and release it and do those things in your life that really can transform you and move you out of that state into power and healing.
Wow, that is so incredible. And those 3 steps are really, really simple at the end of the day. I mean, I say simple because it's 1, 2, 3, but we know that there's so much beauty and then the inner work, right, is really where it's at. And then the practice. And I love step number 3 because it's where we arrive. It's where we actually find the transformation, where we actually arrive at the healing and the aha moment that we may gather from our experiences, right? So thank you so much, Kim, for sharing that. That's going to be super helpful, especially, I mean, people, we're in new times now. I feel like this is like the new, there's no, well, people call it the new normal, but I feel like that, with that being said, coming out of 2020 and everything that people are dealing with, it's needed now more than ever before. So thank you so much for your wisdom. So I wanted to also ask, what role, right? Because you talk about radical intuition, and this is part of the title of your book, which I find so interesting that the word radical is in there. And it matches your personality altogether, but I'd love to know why radical, right? And what role does intuition play in this healing journey? And why is it important for us to really listen to our inner voice?
Yeah, no, that's like, now you really hit my sweet spot. I mean, that's for me, like I am so passionate about that. And this idea of radical intuition, to me, we're trying to figure out the perfect title for this book. And this really resonated with the editorial team and World Library and myself, because this idea of what happens, just like hearkening back to what you were saying with the new normal, we're living in a new time right now. This isn't your grandmother's intuition. The kind of stuff we're talking about with intuition now is really opening up and understanding intuition as a force of the future, as a force of expansion in a way that we all need. It's not just, connecting with our higher self and living in harmony and peace. It's power and it's understanding, and it's going to touch our worlds in ways that we can't even imagine right now, especially with all the understanding of the quantum world that's coming out right now. So this idea of radical intuition, to us, it seemed very radical because it was a departure of making that shift from living our lives by this external sort of material world, which we were raised and conditioned to do, right? We've been conditioned our whole life to believe things and to see things and to live, we should do this, that, and this, that. Well, the shift when you start to listen to your intuition is coming back to yourself, coming back to that inner shift, that inner focus, where we start to listen to those nudges, that inner wisdom, that truth that abides and arises from within over the world. And so that's what's so revolutionary about it. When you're true to yourself, it's the most revolutionary act, because you've put away society and you said, no, I'm going to honor myself and trust myself. And that is one of the number one regrets. You've seen those studies out there on end of life regrets. Not listening to yourself and your intuition is so key. Oh, I should have done this. I was always called to do this, but I didn't do it. So now we're getting to this place where we realize that that's not just your imagination or some sort of ego thing that's made up. That's a real calling coming from a real place, that non-local field, that truth, that cosmic oneness of God, the universe, source, whatever you want to call it. That's what our intuition is. It connects us to that. And it's so important. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about it, because I think getting into that place of intuition is key for everyone, every person on this planet, to live their life the best way and to understand what they were made for, and to touch that dimension of the extraordinary, because that's what intuition does. It allows us to penetrate through that place that the mind can't go. We can't get there by thinking. We can't think our way into that higher understanding of the world. That's a place that's only available to be accessed through our intuition. So it becomes a radical act when we live by that, and it really does change our life. So that's how that all came about.
Woo! Okay, you know what? You hit it home. I'm going to say right now, revolutionary. When you said that remaining true to yourself is revolutionary, is the revolution. Like that right there that's what gave me the goosebumps, because it's so true. I mean, I know Bruce Lee, he mentioned it so many times in his work. He was saying that honest expression. He said that, my friend, is very hard to do. And I know when he said that, he was talking about coming from that place that's authentic, coming from that place that we've been hiding all along. So I love it all. Kim, thank you so much for everything. So I know we have some time, and I'm really, really excited for this, because you mentioned earlier this amazing thing called the 0 point healing field. I think we need to experience this. So I would love for you to guide us through like a short 8-minute meditation, if you will, somewhere around that can take us to the 0 point healing field. So we'd love for that. Love to.
Absolutely. Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So this will just be really simple. For those of you watching at home, you can just close your eyes, relax. I like to bring us in with a little bell. So I'm just going to ring this, and you can just start sort of getting into your healing, cleansing breaths. Just start taking those circular breaths and close your eyes and relax. Just take a moment for folks to get settled and just settle into your being, into your chair, into this place and time, wherever you are. Just breathe in and release. Breathe in those deep cleansing breaths. And just exhale any tension, anything that's holding you back. Just releasing any thoughts or anxieties or worries. Let's just get into that place together of stillness. All of the things of the world, just let them all go. And smile. That smile can uplift you, can transform you. Feel that energetic shift just on that smile, and let that smile lift you up. The higher you raise your vibration, the easier it will be to connect with your intuition and those subtle energies of the universe. Just feel that power behind the world. You can feel it, that smile connect you to it. Feel the power and the stillness around us. Just be with it. And become part of it. There's a field that connects us right now beyond time and space. If you're watching this with us, or if you're watching this another time, we're still connected. And our energy is here. Feel that energy. Feel the silence and the power that's in it. It's not empty. It's full of energy, full of potential, full of guidance waiting to come to you. It's full of light, and it's full of the love that connects us all. Feel that love touch you now. Feel its rays shine on you like the sun, warming your skin on a beautiful summer day. Let the light and the love touch you. Bathe it in. Soak it up. Healing energy travels in that beautiful light, along with wisdom and truth and love. That healing love flows through it like radiance into your soul, illuminating your being from within. This stillness, this quiet, this heart of the universe, the heart of our soul, is full of love. The ground state of our universe is this love. Now repeat after me. I love myself. I love my being. I love my life. Take that love and infuse it into everything within you and around you. Recognize that love manifesting in all the beautiful things you call your body and your life. I love myself. I love my fingers and my toes and my eyes and my heart and my laugh and my smile. I love my friends and my family. I love this world and this planet and all of creation. Infuse that beautiful cosmic love into every cell of your body. Send it to anywhere that hurts. Send it to anywhere that needs a little extra love and healing. Feed your body with that love. Love and accept every part of your body, even the parts that aren't working as they should be. Give those parts some love. Be grateful for all your body's doing to keep you healthy, to keep you here, so that you can be present and experience this beautiful love. Set an intention to give yourself this love every day. Feed yourself with love so that you can heal. And listen to the guidance that comes within, that guides you to that healing, that tells you what you need. That still small voice within you that leads you here, or leads you there, or calls you. This is the way. This is the truth. This is the aliveness of being that's working within you. Accept it and turn all of that pain into your power. And awaken to a new dimension of your life. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. And come back.
Wow. That was radical. No, it was so amazing. Thank you, Kim. I feel, I guess there's no words. I guess that's the experience of this amazingness that you have talked about with the 0 point. I feel at peace. I feel in alignment. I guess those are the best ways that I could describe it. I just want to thank you for guiding us through that beautiful, beautiful meditation. That was incredible.
Thank you. I think that whole act of really touching that field and that aliveness that exists there can be so transformational. And if you can do this before bed in the evenings, just little moments, if you do it on a regular basis, it really starts to recharge you and revitalize you. So it's a sort of great way to recharge that battery.
Woo, I'm feeling recharged. This was amazing. I'm ready. And this is the many reasons right here. Like that alone, that experience is why purchasing premium, right? So you can access the summit on demand and get unlimited access to all the summit sessions, transcripts, also bonuses. That was incredible. I love that for my archives. So thank you, Kim. Given what you talked about, what is one thing that you'd like to leave with us here today, or as a next step, right, to our listeners that we can do to make changes in our own lives?
Yeah, and I would just like to reiterate to everybody just that power of trusting yourself and being true to yourself. That idea that if you want to change your life, if you want to live your best life, if you want to own your power, is being true to yourself is that revolutionary act. So trust that self no matter what the world tells you.
Amazing. It was so simple, so profound. I want to thank you, Kim, so much for your time and being here with us. And I want to say also just what an amazing session. This has been an amazing session with Kim Chestney. Thank you all for listening. Peace and blessings.
Thank you.